search for the stubby bits are over. Wasn't too happy about how much VIM charges for the shipping, you know. I mean, I ordered these little things that weigh next to nothing, and they charged me like, and they sent to US postal mail, which is fine. But we all know, you know, US postal mail, it's next to nothing to ship stuff through USPS. They charged me like 20 bucks to ship the items that didn't even cost $20. But I wanted them, so I bought them because I keep buying these sets of stubby bits, and they don't ever come with the number 2 square, the Robeson number 2. So this is what we got. I got R1, R2s, half cut bit by VIM Tools, made in Taiwan. Here's a lineup just to kind of show you the sizes. Now, these Kiafent, they're actually a little shorter than the VIMs by a hair, but it doesn't come with a number 2 square, and that's what I need. Working on RVs and doing electrical, albeit you don't, I rarely ever find myself needing a super stubby bit to deal with a wall plate, an electrical outlet, a circuit breaker, or anything like that. And that's what uses these number 1, number 2 squares on the electrical sides. You know, you're talking about a circuit breaker, you're talking about an outlet, an electrical outlet, things like that. So you're in the 2s and 3s, you know, and the 1s, you know, 1s, 2s, and 3s. But they don't sell a 3. They don't sell a R3 in a super stubby. But it's okay. I really just needed the R2. So I wanted to order like 5 of each, but the shipping was like $30 to come snail mail. And I'm like, come on guys, why are you robbing us on the shipping? Like, bro, this package weighs like a few ounces. Why is it 30 bucks to ship 6 ounces worth of tools? That doesn't make any sense. You're basically just pocketing the money, you're robbing us on the shipping. But whatever. So I only bought 2 of each because I was already a little ticked off about what they was charging for the shipping. So anyway, we got a couple of them in. I could see if I was buying something else and, you know, it was like worth a lot of money. You know, I was buying like a $200 Ratchet or something, which these don't weigh that much either. But it would make me feel better, you know, if I was purchasing something like that and then it was like, okay, the shipping's $30. Okay. But when I'm buying something that costs $3, you know, a total of like $15, and you're telling me the shipping is $20 snail mail, it's like kind of sketchy, bro. I don't know, they need to do something about that. They should fix that. But here it is. So you can see that last one is the VIM, and that's a DeWalt. This is what is this? I don't know what that is. Random bit. But there's a DeWalt 1-inch bit. There's a stubby bit from this company. And this might be one of their bits. I don't know. It didn't come in the stubby though. And there's the VIM. The dark one right here. This guy. Let's see if we can get a close up on it. Man, camera's super fuzzy, bro. Why won't it focus? Oh well, let me read it. It just has their little S2. It just has their little, you know, proprietary S2 symbol for the S2 steel. You know, it's supposed to be made out of S2 tool steel. I mean, but even these cheap Amazon, they say that as well. It has S2 stamped on it. So anyway, this is the deal. I really need these. when I'm doing H-column assemblies. And I miss a bolt, or there's one in between the wall, and I can't get to it. I need these for these ratchets. And the most usable, lowest profile one is this Icon one that came out of this kit, the old $40 original Icon kit. It sits pretty low. I'm typically grabbing the snap-on for a couple of reasons. Locking flex head, and I can put my finger on the back to break it free, to get it started. On these, they got a thumb wheel on the back, so I can't press on the back with my finger and get a rotation out of the drive-in because it's all one. So this has its own benefit of like getting a loose nut started or something like that. But that's not what when I'm using a bit ratchet, you know, it's not like I can hand start a screw or fastener, you know, that doesn't help me out. But I believe the reason they put the little thumb wheel on the back is because they have a adapter so you can use sockets on this, which I wouldn't, because the little adapter always comes out. So that's pretty useless. So normally I'm grabbing this one or this one, but this one, same problem with the Icon. When I need to put a lot of pressure on it, that spins, the back side spins with the front. So as it's turning, all I'll be doing is changing direction of the wheel. So this one, I'm not gonna say it's useless. It's not useless. It's a good ratchet. I use it sometimes, but for the scenario when I gotta get that bolt that's in between a tight spot and I need to kind of like press on it really hard to break the initial torque off of the bolt so I can start, you know, removing it, this is the one, because it has that flat back. It's compact, low profile, you know, it's basically a 1/4 inch, like just a regular, I was about to say dual 80, but these are the 1/4 inch ratchets are like T72s or whatever. But it's that size ratchet in the snap-on variety, and I do like that I can have that lock and flex head, which comes in handy to have it locked. This comes in handy, swivel head, but not in the same applications where I need a regular lock and flex head. So, and this is also a lock and flex head. This Icon, which makes this ratchet really good, really versatile. Like I said, that's the only thing, that guy right there. So, and when I use these ratchets, it breaks that little pin when I'm having to put a lot of downward force on it to break something free that's in a tight spot, and I'm having to press on it hard. But I really like this with the handle on it. It's the right size. This is really good, and this has gotten me out of jams, this guy right here. So I'm not hating on the Icon at all. And then there's just my little non-locking flex head, super stubby. It's, you know, more of a novelty. I mean, typically when I'm pulling out a bit ratchet, I need something with a little length on it. You know, I'm trying to reach something in a weird spot, and most of the time I'm not going to be able to fit my whole hand into the place where I'm going. But I bought this ratchet and I like it, but more so for a novelty. You know, I'm sure it has some uses under the dash, you know, doing actuators, things like that. You know, it can come in handy. But most of the times when I'm pulling for a bit ratchet, I need a little bit of length on it. You know, this is actually the perfect size, this guy right here with the handle on it. If this was all one piece, this would be great, because I don't need it the handle pulling off when I'm in an awkward position, which is why this is normally my go-to right here. This little snap-on, guys. So these bits are awesome. You know, they're a little ridiculous on the shipping, but the tool is what it is. So I basically looked at it like this. I was like, well, they're gouging me on the shipping. I know it doesn't cost that much. So basically, your bits are $10 a piece. That's how I look at it. I was like, oh, they want $10 a piece for these, but you know. So I just add the shipping in and divide by the number of pieces I got. That was the real cost. That was what it cost for me to get them here. So I paid like $40 for 4 bits because of the shipping. So that means they're $10 a piece. So I know they like to say, well, you can get them from the dealer or whatever. Yeah, it'd be nice if you had one. Yeah. But the online stuff, and it's hard to find their little individual pieces, like specifically these squares from different online retailers. Like, if I couldn't find these on Zorro, but they have some of the other ones on Zorro, or I would have just bought them off of Zorro and I wouldn't have paid anything for shipping at all. You know, I could have ordered 10 of each, which is what I kind of wanted. So I wouldn't have to buy them again. So as they wear out over the years, I got them, you know, especially if they decide to stop making them. So that's what we got, guys. Just these bits. Oh, I ordered a bunch of, speaking of Zorro, a bunch of different lugs for like my larger wire. Looks like I'm getting a little low on the 1/0 red cable, and that's what I think these are 1/0 little 2-packs. I don't know why they sell them like this instead of just selling it in like a jug, like a jar of them. But this is kind of how I found them. So I bought them like this. They cost more money, obviously, when they're individually wrapped and packaged like this. So I just some of them I was able to get like in like a little bulk bag, you know. I was able to find something like that, but it's cool. It'll remind me to charge people for them when I'm using them to make up battery cables, and those individually wrapped packs. So I got my marker out so you know what time it is, going through and putting the price on each one, because those little things are expensive. And oh yeah, I picked this thing up from Harbor Freight. I thought it might come in handy, but it really is just in the way. I'm not gonna keep it in here. Right now, I just got some, these are some pieces that go to my battery operated hydraulic crimper. Now, that would be nice for that, but I'll have to find a spot for it. Well, it can go where that Milwaukee charger is. I found a little spot for it. I like trying to put stuff over here because my angle game on the cutting wasn't good, so I have a gap right there. So I can, you know, he can kind of live over here, something like that, and that kind of helps me out with blocking off that corner a little bit. That stuff needs to go back in the battery box anyway. So yeah, I got that thing. You know, I just got a couple little knickknacks in it. I thought it would be good for something. It might be good for some of my more commonly used loose drill bits that I buy, really high quality drill bits, and they come like this in these little bags, and they're not in a case, so they're a little harder to keep up with. I think it'll be good for that. So yeah, we'll keep it. And those drill bits are so slim, I can put them in top of the in the top part of the box. So actually that can come in handy because those bits are kind of expensive and I need to keep up with them. But yeah, these little stubby bits, they really change the game when it comes to the Ratchet. I mean, where's that little stubby? You know, you're talking about going from, you know, this depth And this is a great comparison because both of these are the same snap-on head ratchets. You know, that makes a big difference. When you're in a tight spot, that makes a big difference. That's why I was like so on the stubby bit game, you know, trying to get these stubby bits, but everybody doesn't have the pieces listed, and I'm trying to look at the pictures and I'm like, oh, it looks like it got some squares and then they're hexes. So I struck out like with all three of these, not being able to get R2s, but it did have like the Phillips, you know. It wasn't a total waste, but I don't know what I took out of here. There's a bit missing out of here, but I do have this one little random snap-on Phillips number 2 that I'll stick in the place of that kit. But yeah, guys, those stubby bits from VIM, you know, I don't know anybody else I could buy a single solitary, you know, just buy one, you know, like who, Snap-on, but Snap-on didn't make those as far as I know. Let me know if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, Snap-on doesn't make these little half-cut bits like that. If they did, I would have had some by now, unless I just don't know about them, and they do. So yeah, that's my little bit drawer. So these will definitely be going in the bit drawer, because that's where the bits, that's where I keep all my bits. And that's been working out great. You know, the toolbox has been working out great, guys. But like this is a total game changer, man. This is exactly what I needed. That's what I needed. And I know people were like, listen, you can just cut off this bit, this and that. When you heat up metal, you take the temper out of it and it's not as hard anymore, you know. And I'm sure there's like 1,000 people that's gonna be like, yo, I cut them off all the time, I never had any problem. I'm not gonna be able to make it as well as these Taiwanese manufacturers are doing. Maybe that has gotten somebody by, and that's awesome. Whenever you can do something that gets you by, but I'm like purposely seeking out the correct tools to perform difficult tasks, and I don't mind paying the $10 to get this little bit so that it doesn't take me 20 minutes to get to a fastener that if I had this bit, it could take me less than 2 minutes, especially at my hourly rate. It's worth it for me to seek out the right thing. And I'm not, you know, one to be messing around trying to, you know, shave this down to the size of the other one. And, you know, you don't get the bevel anymore. And you see they got that little torsion area in it. So, like, where are you going to stop it at? You know, I'm sure there are other manufacturers that make them and they don't have all that in there. But I'm not doing all that, guys. I'm just going to buy the one that they have. And the bits really only cost like, you know, $3 or $4. But like I said, when you add in the shipping, you know, you end up paying almost $10 a bit. So that's what we got. I've been using these screwdrivers. I don't hate them. You know, they're all right. You know, the biggest gripe is the handle size. When you're getting into a screwdriver of this size, you want to have a full size handle. And as you can see, like, look at this Husky. See the handle size. You want a big enough handle so you can apply enough pressure. And like when you get to the number 2 square, which I love about this set, is that it has a square bit. You know, if I wish they would make all the handles this size in the whole kit. And this is the number 1 square. I wish they would just make them all large handles. You know, we all don't have little baby hands. You You know, look at me, cover the whole thing up, you know, and almost have my fist ball and can have all the screwdrivers in one hand, and the handles are kind of small. So I do use the my go-to day-to-days are the Whias, and you know, there's a number 2 Phillips, and the handle, you can see it's real dirty because I use it all the time. The handle is very bulbous right there, and that works for me. And then you got that flat. Okay, here's a number 2. That's the good size. You know, the handle is good at that size. You got the same flat for your thumb, you know. The rest of the handles, they're just too small. That's my gripe with them. When I'm going for a full-size screwdriver, I want a full-size handle. I don't want the baby handle unless I'm working with, you know, precision screwdriver, something like this. You pull out a snap-on, and then that's is ideal. The instinct grip for that size handle. And maybe it's because I'm used to on a number 2 Phillips and basically the whole set using screwdriver handles of this size, that's why this one feels a little weird. And but like this little thin number 1, you know, it has a little baby handle too. So Whia does the same thing. They don't have the same handles on all of them either, you know. So that's why they're both pretty smudgy and pretty dirty, because just based on wherever I'm at, I'm like all of these screwdrivers, if you look at them, surprisingly enough, you use screwdrivers quite a bit. Most of the times we're not using them, we're using power tools, but a lot of the times, especially when you're dealing with wall plates and electrical boxes and stuff like that, fasteners that don't take a lot of torque, you're not really wanting to put impact on that. So using regular screwdriver, which is why they're so dirty, because they get grabbed a lot. Not as much as my drill, no. But sometimes it's just easier and quicker than pulling out the drill, getting out the bit kit to just get a couple of quick fasteners out to look at something. It's just easier to grab a screwdriver, and I find myself doing that, messing around. And plus, you notice like my screwdrivers are like insulated. So like the ones that I really use a lot, they're insulated, because when you're digging around in the transfer switch, you don't want this. You're fooling around on a circuit board and it's got a lot of tall components on it. You know, you're inside of you're trying to work on a power supply or something like that, and you know, working on the stuff live, hot work. You don't want that exposed shank like that, which is why I gravitate toward the insulated screwdrivers. But that's what we got, guys. I'm gonna get out of here, relax, watch some TV. I catch you later. RV Tech Pro out.